any allegation that the amended public accounts received by the Auditor General on the 16th of April, according to her letter, that those were backdated is patently false. I just want to make sure that I got the first point clear, that I'm saying that any allegation is crystal, right? That we are saying it's patently false. Okay, that any allegation that the amended public accounts received by the Auditor General on the 16th of April, according to her letter, that those were backdated is patently false. That those were backdated is patently false.
The constitutional impasse with respect to the Auditor General's report for the financial year of 2023. And all of this stemmed because there is a missing $3 billion worth of revenue in Trinidad and Tobago. The Auditor General, through her report that we have seen on various networks and news agencies, is that there is a missing $3 billion in revenue. So on the 31st of January, accounts were submitted to the Office of the Auditor General indicating that Trinidad and Tobago revenue for 2023 was about $61 billion. Subsequently, the Auditor General was informed that there were issues with respect to the accounts and that the actual revenue for Trinidad and Tobago would have been $64 billion, which means that there's a $3 billion gap. When the Auditor General audited the accounts after the amended accounts were issued, she still could not find the $3 billion, and therefore that was in fact reported, and that is now a matter of public record. But what is interesting is this, is that the Auditor General has raised a very serious matter with respect to the backdating of the accounts of Trinidad and Tobago, because she had in her possession 2 accounts for Trinidad and Tobago as at the 15th of April 2023. And the both accounts were dated the 31st of January 2024, and I have copies of the both accounts. And these 2 accounts would have reflected various figures, but have the same date. One account was actually delivered to her on the 31st of January 2024 with the revenue figure of $61.8 billion. The other account would have reflected a figure of $64 billion submitted to her after the 31st of January 2024, but was backdated to the 31st of January 2024. Submitted to her after the 31st of January 2024, but was backdated to the 31st of January 2024. Submitted to her after the 31st of January 2024, but was backdated to the 31st of January 2024.
Any allegation that the amended public accounts received by the Auditor General on the 16th of April, according to her letter, that those were backdated is patently false. That those were backdated is patently false.
Acting Prime Minister Imbert has been given until 4 p.m. on Wednesday to respond to a pre-action protocol letter sent by the Auditor General's legal team. If Minister Imbert fails to respond, Freedom Chambers will file a claim for judicial review challenging the legality of the investigation announced on May 7th. The investigation, headed by retired Justice David Harris, was set up to investigate the circumstances surrounding the dispute which followed the Auditor General's Public Accounts 2023 report. The letter calls on the minister to cancel or recall the investigation. Ramdas's attorneys say neither the minister nor the cabinet has the constitutional jurisdiction and lawful authority to investigate the action and conduct of the Auditor General. They say it is only the Public Service Commission under Section 121 of the Constitution that has jurisdiction. The letter also states that the risk of bias in the finance minister appointing an investigative team is clear and self-evident. Opposition leader Kama Prasad Besessa previously argued that only the Public Service Commission has the authority to investigate the Auditor General. In last week's post-cabinet media briefing, Minister Imbert called her argument nonsense.
It was only on the 16th of April that the amended public accounts were accepted. I had said in the Parliament, look, I don't want to dive too deep into this because, you have one group of public servants saying X, another group saying Y. So the whole purpose of this team that has been appointed and is headed by retired Justice David Harris is to talk to all the public servants involved and see if we could get some clarity on what really happened, basically. Well, nonsense uttered by the leader of the opposition. It's nonsense because in the Senate, I said that I I'm going to conduct an internal investigation to investigate the facts within the Ministry of Finance. So who is supposed to pick the team? I ask the leader of the opposition to pick the team? It's nonsense.